Hi, welcome to Planet Hex. I'm Andrew Hawnt. It's time to go hunting tapes again. It's been a while since we've done it, an eBay video, so it's time to go and get back out there and check out what's available. I've been doing a lot of hunting lately, a lot of hunting in the wild for retro goodies. I've been looking for all kinds of things really, like comics, DVDs, VHS, t-shirts, movie soundtracks, video games, collectibles. The list is getting ever bigger of the stuff I will pick up. Mainly it'll be things to flip on this lovely site eBay, or occasionally there'll be things that I do want for the collection myself. I want to get out some car boots soon. I've not been to a car boot sale in a long time, so I want to do that soon. But today we're going to look for some Cyberpunk tapes. Now this was something that I was a big fan of back in the VHS days, and Cyberpunk as a genre has found a new audience of late with games like Cyberpunk 2077, although I know what happened to that, and the resurgence of things like The Matrix and so on. But this is something that first really popped out in like the mid-80s with William Gibson's Neuromancer novel, and it became this sort of mix of dystopian sort of 1984 style fiction with cyberspace, the term that William Gibson introduced in Neuromancer, and the idea of us all being connected by computers, or indeed to computers. And while the early films like Blade Runner, based on Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick, were amazing pieces of cinema, as the genre wore on, it became sort of a place to put cheap stuff. There's no two ways about that. It did end up as sort of a genre where you could make films cheap and get away with it, set something in a dystopian future, and then, you know, you could just have Wasteland with some people with like scruffy cars. It became sort of a mix of Mad Max and Blade Runner. You know, there would be some Blade Runner elements, but then when the money ran out, it became more like Mad Max, and everything would be set in a desert, and everything would be post-apocalyptic. So let's see what we've got here. Let's see what in fact is tagged as Cyberpunk. There's some great stuff that I see tagged as Cyberpunk here, like the Bubblegum Crisis, one of my favourite anime series ever. I love Bubblegum Crisis. There's just something about it that caught me. It's one of the first animes I really got into, and I love it. So there's Cyborg, the Van Damme Cyborg movie, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, directed by Albert Pune. That was originally, one draft of that was to be the sequel to the Masters of the Universe live-action movie, and I don't understand. How was it? Or was it the sets? I think it was sets and costumes that were intended for the second He-Man movie. That was it. Which wound up being used in Cyborg. Yeah, there's some interesting ones here I can see. We're going to go through some of these. I will mention Judge Dredd, Alien Nation. That's not really Cyberpunk. Guyver was Cyberpunk, I would say. There's some more anime, of course. Time Guardian. Yep, and Carrie Fisher, Australian Cyberpunk movie. I see hackers coming up a lot here, and I totally get that. While not really a cyberpunk movie, it was a hacker movie, hence the title. It did have a lot going for it that would appeal to a cyberpunk audience. There was the whole cyber aspect with the hackers themselves trying to save the world from a bad guy trying to plant viruses, played with so much scene chewing by Fisher Stevens. If you've not seen Hackers, it is like a 90s time capsule. It's got Matthew Lillard, Angelina Jolie, Johnny Lee Miller in it. It's got a really good cast. It's got an absolutely fantastic soundtrack and a very cool poster as well. Let's just get Hackers up there. There we go. We've got X-Rental Hackers there. You thought your secrets were safe. You were wrong. So it's a really fun film. It has not dated well though, because of the speed that technology moves at, and how the speed that all computers have developed and the digital world has developed since this movie came out. It is crazy dated. Like there's a scene where the group of hackers are all marveling over the Angelina Jolie's character's new laptop, and it's like 6 meg of storage. It's like 6 meg of storage. Ooh. Is it 6 meg or 6 gig or something like that? It was tiny anyway, but it holds up well as an entertaining film. If you take it for what it is, as a period piece, it's a damn fine film, and I really enjoyed that. It wasn't really massive at the time, but it has over time built up a cult following, which is entirely deserved. Now, this tape here, I actually had this tape myself. Just making sure it's not me, it's got it listed. This is a documentary about Cyberpunk. Future has already happened, William Gibson. And this was an interesting video I'd found from a charity shop. It turned out to be 10 pence. It was only 10 pence when I bought it. And it was a TV documentary on the whole Cyberpunk thing. The style, the aesthetic of it, the fiction, its influence on movies and video games, and like a Tomorrow's World sort of where are we going to go from here sort of thing, which is very rarely correct but entertaining nonetheless. So, there you go. Bubblegum Crisis. There's one of the lightsabers. I don't think that's press. That's not press, that one. Bubblegum Crisis was a great piece of sci-fi cyberpunk anime about some ladies that were a team of crime fighters that would suit up in these powered suits and become the lightsabers, and they would fight against boomers, which were like mutant cyborgs, like cyborgs that could mutate. It was very cool. I like that a lot. So yeah, the Van Damme movie, Cyborg itself, that had a nice atmosphere to it. There we go. Bad guys walking away from explosions. You know, it was the battle against the, what were they called? The Flesh Pirates, it says there. And it was it was like the blueprint for a lot of things that followed during the latter years of the VHS era, with a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff, public outdoor sets, and things that you really didn't need to make look too futuristic. So there were some trappings of futuristic stuff, but it was more just a low-budget action movie that allowed Van Damme to show off his martial arts skills. I mean, really, I prefer what Albert Pune did afterwards with a way lower budget with Olivier Gruner in Nemesis. Do check out the first Nemesis film, because that is I believe a genuine cyberpunk classic, and an underrated cyberpunk classic as well. But then you got things like these, the Fortress movies, which were sci-fi movies with a bit of a cyberpunk edge, and that's fine, but you could still hear Fortress. I think it was about 10-12 years after Neuromancer came out, and you could still feel the effects of that and Blade Runner in things like this. Also, there was, where's it gone? Free Jack with Emilio Estevez, Mick Jagger, and Anthony Hopkins. Didn't completely work as a movie, I don't think. I see what they tried to do with it, but it wasn't one that really had what it took to be a classic of the genre. For the producer of Alien and Total Recall, so it had a pretty good pedigree, solid cast there of Emilio Estevez and Anthony Hopkins, but it also had Mick Jagger in it. What was the movie? What was this based on? I can't remember. I'm going to have to look this up. Oh, it's got an M sticker on it rather than a 15, and that's I think is that Irish? It's Australian, isn't it? I think that's Australian. What was Free Jack based on? Because it was a short story or a novel by an old science fiction writer. One of my favourites, Immortality Inc. That was it, by Robert Sheckley. Oh yes, that was fantastic. Immortality Incorporated by Robert Sheckley, a fantastic piece of work, and way better than Free Jack itself. So do check that out. Yeah, Immortality Incorporated by Robert Sheckley, one of the greatest science fiction writers that there has ever been. But if you want to complete the set, by all means, get Free Jack as well. It had some nice visuals to it, but didn't really entirely work in my eyes. What did work better for me was Total Recall. Let's get a copy of Total Recall going up here, shall we? Because that had an incredible amount of entertainment value and quality to it as well. Arnie's performance aside, VHS Andrew, what are we doing? This is a tape show. What are you talking about? What are you doing? Bring up DVDs. How dare you? There we go. There's this mass-produced Total Recall. They stole his mind, now he wants it back. Now that is so good. That was based on We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. I think that was Philip K. Dick as well. And rather loosely based on that story, to be honest. But that had so much value to it. And that has held up really well. So I would say you'd need a copy of Total Recall in your collection. There's the Mask. 2 weeks. Get ready for a surprise. If I can be bothered, I'll put in that explosion there. But I probably can't because I'm very tired at the moment. It's been a busy week, so I probably won't have put an explosion there. Cheers, future me. It was Sharon Stone. It was just great film. Rachel Ticotin in that, and Sharon Stone, Michael Ironside. Gotta have Michael Ironside in post-apocalyptic movies. Total Recall is, I feel, Cyberpunk got right. Because it didn't feel just like a Blade Runner rip-off visually. It was something different, and I really appreciated it and enjoyed that. What's this here? The Cyberpunk collection. This is a collection of Cyberpunk anime that has been... Someone is asking $149.99 for this. Let's see what we've got here. It's got the first 3 volumes of Cyber City. That's Cyber City 08008. For parts 1 to 3 of AD Police and stages 1 to 3 of Genocyber. Is that just 3 tapes? Yes, that's 3 tapes. I know it's a limited edition, it's a Cyberpunk collection, but you can get those 3 much cheaper. Genocyber wasn't a great one. AD Police and Cyber City 08008, as it's stated there. Oops. They were a lot of fun. Genocyber was alright, didn't really like that as much as the others, but what I will say is that the Genocyber soundtrack is phenomenal. That's Fortress 2 again. What have we got here? Now, Judge Dredd, I have mentioned this movie before, Judge Dredd. Now, this comes in for a lot of hate, understandably, because there's a lot wrong with it. However, let's go through these. The depiction of Mega City 1 is spot on. The ABC Warrior is spot on. The depiction of the Law Masters, fantastic. Judge Dredd's uniform, apart from the helmet missing the nose guard, it's absolutely spot on. And the first 20 minutes of the film, fantastic. But as soon as Dredd removes the helmet, it's toss. It's terrible. And no, just no. But when he's got the helmet on, the first 20 minutes of that, ideal. If it had just stopped with the first 20 minutes, that would have been fine by me. So, the Guyver is one that a lot of Cyberpunk fans bring up. That was anime again. I think there's more anime than live-action Cyberpunk stuff. You may just do a search on Cyberpunk and see what comes up. And this is a guy being taken over by the Guyver, which is an interdimensional space superhero suit of armor type thing. It's been a long time since I saw it. And it's got stickers with it. Wow, that's pretty cool. It's got the original stickers with it from the manga release. £6. That's not bad. Case looks a bit dirty on the top. Tape looks in good nick. But yeah, that's I like that. That could be fun. But that was really good. But it was shockingly violent and quite scary in some places, just because of there were some horror elements in it. Time Guardian was sort of an attempt at making a cyberpunk Star Wars. It got Carrie Fisher in it. It got a guy with big shoulder pads. It didn't really have much going for it, but it's an interesting tape to have in your collection. That's the Australian version of it. Let's do Cyberpunk movies and see what comes up. What else came up? Cherry 2000 was an interesting one, actually. Let me go and get up Cherry 2000. Let's see if I can get it on VHS. Yeah, there we go. Cherry 2000. This was an interesting one. It's Melanie Griffith. Let's get this image up. So, there we go. Cherry 2000, 1988, Orion Pictures. In the future, when the perfect woman short-circuits, sex will be an adventure. It makes it look kind of like a A-Team Dukes of Hazzard with rocket launchers in it. Melanie Griffith, David Andrews, Ben Johnson, and Tim Thomerson. I love Tim Thomerson. This was a real fun film. and it had a very different atmosphere to it. It's sort of like a cross between Mad Max and Desperately Seeking Susan. It's got a really weird mix of kind of 80s buddy comedy and post-apocalyptic cyberpunk, and it works because there wasn't really a load of stuff like that at the time, but it really does work. But I think the view of cyberpunk has changed over the years so much into being more along the lines of The Matrix. It's sort of completely understandable. The Matrix changed everything and is a perfect example of cyberpunk done right. The Matrix has so much going for it that was just glorious. Let's bring up some comedy ones now. TC2000 VHS. You can see here that is not great. However, good fun film to watch. There was the whole thing with a lot of films including things like virtual reality around about the time of things like Johnny Mnemonic. Johnny Mnemonic was cracking. Another Keanu Reeves movie, TC2000, low budget martial arts movie with some cyberpunk elements. Recommended if that's your thing. Bella Young, Jalal Murray, and Billy Blanks. What a trio. I mean, you gotta love Billy Blank's hair there. It rules. Let me get up Johnny Mnemonic. See what Johnny Mnemonic's going for. I would say there's loads that I've not covered here because there were loads of cyberpunk films around, and they seem to be all bunched into like a period between 93 and 95. A lot of them, apart from The Matrix, which was 99. Big Box X around 99p. That's not bad. There was Lawnmower Man that had the sort of cyberspace thing, but not cyberpunk. But Johnny Mnemonic was a really good example of all the elements that you would want from a cyberpunk movie. You know, it's got the main hero there, Johnny Mnemonic, in a cool suit with a cool gun. It's got the cyberspace element. It's got all the there's just so many things about it. There's all the tech in it. There's an insane Dolph Lundgren. I mean, you can't go wrong with an insane Dolph Lundgren in things unless it's the He-Man movie, and I do recommend that one greatly. But it's an interesting genre to try and map out because there's no like gradual build-up. It wasn't like, oh, there's Blade Runner and then there's a slow build-up of cyberpunk movies. It was just like, quick! Blade Runner brought a few with it, and then Johnny Mnemonic, that sort of era, there was a glut of them straight to video, and then The Matrix happened, and you know, it gave us what is pretty much the perfect cyberpunk movie. Unfortunately, that was followed by The Matrix Reloaded, The Matrix Revolutions, and more recently The Matrix Resurrections. So to be honest, after those three, I think it's pretty tarnished, unfortunately. The promise of that last moment of The Matrix where Keanu is flying up into the camera, not fulfilled. Not fulfilled in my eyes at all, unfortunately. But there's a lot to enjoy out there. I would say start with things like Johnny Mnemonic and The Matrix and Hackers, and then try and find some of the lower budget stuff. Let's go Nemesis. As I've mentioned before on this channel, the first Nemesis is fantastic. Nemesis 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not. I do like 2, 3, and 4. Sorry, I like 2 and 3, Nebula and Time Lapse. But fourth, Angel of Death, no. And the fifth, just stop. It made no sense. But I do recommend you check these things out because I think the price on cyberpunk titles is going to go up soon. I have no evidence to back this up. I just have a feeling that we've had a few years ago there was a big glut in horror movies gaining in price. Then there was a big thing about things like Back to the Future, and the media have been talking about that again. Someone shared a picture from the Sun newspaper saying things like Back to the Future and Ghostbusters are worth thousands. This is bollocks. They are not worth thousands. They're worth a good price to the right people, but they're not worth thousands. So for the most part, you won't have got a fortune in your loft. You just won't. It's not how these things work. Things like Back to the Future and Ghostbusters and so on were mass produced. Even the rental ones, there was tons of them. But yeah, check out things like the first Nemesis film, not Nemesis 2. First one is best. TC2000, Apex, T-Force, loads of these have got cyberpunk elements in them. Universal Soldier, and to a lesser extent, the sort of unofficial, I think the Canadian sequels. There were 2 more Universal Soldier sequels before they did an actual Universal Soldier sequel. There's a lot to discover with Cyberpunk. Go through some of the books, go through some of the things that were inspired by those books, and just have fun finding out what the future was supposed to be like then from the future that we are in now. And to be honest, I would kind of prefer the future that they offered in those things. You know, I want laser guns, I want cool shades, and I want a long coat. Probably not in this weather though. Well, thank you for watching this episode of Planet Hex. I'll be back soon with more tape hunting, and look out soon on this channel for the new series of my other show, That Retro Life, just coming over here to the Planet Hex channel rather than its own dedicated channel, well, because no one was watching it, and I thought you might like to see it. So do subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for taking the time to check out Planet Hex. I really do appreciate it. I'm Andrew Hawnt, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and validate my existence.